It began like so many astronomical discoveries do, quietly, almost apologetically. Not with a supernova flash or radio burst, but with a faint, almost dismissive blip. A soft motion against the emptiness of space so precise, so coldly deliberate that even our most advanced sky scanners hesitated before flagging it. At first, scientists labeled it a comet. Then an asteroid. Then something interstellar but undetermined. But the more we studied it, the more 3I Atlas unraveled every label we tried to pin to it. It was too symmetrical to be natural. Too silent to be organic. Too controlled to be drifting. The old mystery of Oumuamua resurfaced, our first interstellar guest, the strange, tumbling shard that had baffled every astrophysicist on Earth. But 3I Atlas was not another accident. It was not a coincidence. It was bigger, slower, more intentional. And now, thanks to the James Webb Space Telescope, the sharpest gaze humanity has ever turned outward, we have confirmation of something deeply unsettling. 3I Atlas is not just similar to Oumuamua. It is far more advanced. Far more aware. And possibly far more dangerous. When Atlas was first catalogued, it immediately defied expectations. Interstellar objects typically behave like cosmic tourists, racing through our planetary neighborhood, barely acknowledging us before vanishing back into the void. But Atlas didn't blaze through space. It glided. It coasted along a path so smooth, so perfectly calculated that gravitational analysts began whispering the one phrase astronomers never want to think about: non-gravitational control. Its trajectory skimmed past planetary bodies with mathematical elegance, using gravity wells like stepping stones, as if it had memorized our solar system long before it ever arrived. But the real horror came when researchers traced its origin path backward. The odds of its entry vector occurring naturally were not low, they were impossible. A rogue object couldn't have avoided radiation belts, debris fields, and collision zones with such precision unless it was guided. Unless something inside it was thinking. When James Webb turned its gaze toward Atlas, the data silenced even the skeptics. The thermal readings were wrong, consistent, rhythmic heat pulses like a heartbeat. Not chaotic sublimation, but intention. Webb's spectral analysis revealed hyper-reflective compounds unknown to science and internal density patterns suggesting a hollow, layered structure. But the most disturbing finding was the signal. A low-bandwidth electromagnetic echo repeating every 147 seconds, eerily identical to a known pulsar signature. But Atlas had no pulsar core. No spin. No magnetic field. It wasn't imitating nature, it was communicating. Then came the discovery that froze every researcher. That same frequency had been detected once, briefly, in Oumuamua's tail years ago. The signal was faint then, almost imperceptible. Now it was unmistakably louder. Oumuamua hadn't been alone. It had been the first touch. The quiet knock. The passive observer. 3I Atlas was the second phase. Not a scout. A watcher. And watchers imply something to watch for. NASA offered its usual carefully measured statements: no evidence of extraterrestrial origin, ongoing investigation, inconclusive data. But outside official channels, independent researchers broke ranks. A leaked conversation from the European Space Agency referred to Atlas as a consciousness engine, a phrase with no formal scientific definition but terrifying implications. Inside Atlas, Webb detected fractal geometric structures, patterns found in neural networks, quantum processors, and biological growth systems. Atlas didn't simply exist. It processed. Learned. Reacted. A machine that thinks through space. A structure that evolves as it travels. A vessel that observes and adapts. And if it was adapting to us, what was it preparing for? Just when scientists thought Atlas's trajectory was stable, it shifted. A correction so delicate it could only be described as deliberate. The new path aimed closer to Earth's orbital plane. Analysts at the Deep Space Network reached a chilling consensus. Atlas had responded either to our observation or to something else entirely. Emergency midnight meetings began across space agencies. Because a natural object does not choose. While global agencies remained silent, cryptographers and signal analysts studied Atlas's pulse patterns. Using advanced neural networks, they discovered ratios encoded in the pulses: the golden ratio, Fibonacci sequences, prime spirals. The fingerprints of mathematics found in DNA, galaxies, ancient architecture, even human cognition. At first it seemed abstract. But the signal wasn't static. It reacted. To solar flares. To planetary alignment. To Earth's own radio emissions. And the most chilling moment came when Atlas briefly altered its pulse exactly when James Webb locked its infrared sensors onto it. As if it felt our observation. Atlas wasn't speaking words, it was speaking construction. Order. Life. Pattern. Memory. A language older than language. The organic compounds Webb detected on its shell only deepened the mystery. Perfectly structured precursors to amino acids and prebiotic chemistry. Not random comet material. Refined. Clean. Intentional. A seed? A carrier? A precursor to colonization? The theory grew darker when researchers compared Atlas to our three known interstellar visitors, Oumuamua, Borisov, and now the Atlas entity. Oumuamua was silent. Borisov was active but chaotic. Atlas was hybrid, adaptive, and intelligent. And its surface patterns began changing, self-reconfiguration like a living machine adjusting itself. Then came the second signal. Deeper. Slower. A long-range broadcast aimed not toward Earth, but outward. A call. Or a report. And the universe is wide enough to answer. The situation escalated when a classified monitoring balloon over Antarctica detected a microwave burst perfectly synchronized with a new shift in Atlas's path. Seconds later, seismic stations across the continent recorded subharmonic vibrations identical to Atlas's pulse. Something under the ice responded. Then a young analyst overlaid Atlas's trajectory on ancient star maps, Babylonian, Egyptian, Polynesian. The object's path intersected sacred constellations in a perfect spiral pattern repeated across ancient cave art worldwide. Coincidence? Or a message coded into motion, a cultural broadcast from a civilization far older than ours? One theory rose above the rest. The lock and key hypothesis. Oumuamua was the lock, an inert test. Atlas is the key, an activator. And something on Earth, or in orbit, might be what it was designed to unlock. Further evidence emerged when Earth's magnetic field began syncing with Atlas's pulses. Volcanoes, crystal caverns, and fault lines vibrated in unison. Migratory animals changed direction simultaneously, as if an ancient compass had awakened in their DNA. As if Earth remembered something. Then the transmission aimed at the Moon was detected, a multi-layered data structure hitting a precise lunar coordinate rich in mascons. It was a command. A trigger. Directed at something beneath the Moon's surface. A covert military probe sent to observe Atlas encountered an invisible particle lattice, a barrier. The last image it transmitted was a perfect fractal reflection of itself. Atlas wasn't just observing. It was scanning back. That's when every theory collapsed into a single horrific possibility. Atlas did not enter our solar system. It was waiting here. Dormant. Silent. Until we reached a level of technology capable of noticing it. We triggered it. Because maybe the real nightmare isn't that 3I Atlas is alien, or alive, or intelligent. Maybe the horror is that Atlas isn't looking at us at all. Everything it emits, every pulse, every shift, every signal, might not be meant for Earth. But for something approaching behind it. Atlas isn't the visitor. It's the beacon. And now the universe knows we're here.